36 of Six Figure Live. My name is Ben Hartley with Style & Stray Creative and Six Figure Photography, and we're coming to you guys live once again, as always. Well, not as always, actually, from Columbus, Ohio, at the Style & Stray Creative Studio. And today's Editing Tuesday, so I've got Lightroom opened up here. We're gonna be doing some live editing for you guys, and I'm super excited about it because it gives us a chance just to kind of show you the things that we think about, both in camera with shooting, but also both with actual editing inside of Lightroom, sometimes Photoshop, but then also what we're thinking about when we're shooting, thinking about the edit, really pre-visualizing what we're doing. Where's that? Hey, dude, can you move that chair? The chair, I don't like that chair. The chair's ugly. You just kind of moved it around. It's still ugly. There you go. You guys, so I'm super, super excited. Before we get into that, as people kind of gather up here, very stoked. My wife, myself, and our little girl B, we had a portrait session. We had a family shoot with Rachel Jacobus of Little Roo Studios, and we are receiving our pictures tonight. Rachel and her husband Jared are going to come over, and they're going to present everything to us, and I cannot wait. I can't wait to see everything. I already have the goal in mind of where I want to put. I'm thinking a large canvas series, or maybe I'm a sucker for like matted framed artwork, and so I might do some matted framed work kind of going up the stairs. And so that's my hope. I'm thinking big. We'll use Millers for that for sure. And so anyhow, I'm just like jazzed. I can't wait. And actually tomorrow, you guys, so tomorrow is Image Critique Wednesday, where you guys, we're going to critique some of the community images, and maybe we'll get a chance to show you guys some of the work that Rachel did. Check it out, Little Roo, by the way. If you're in Columbus, Ohio, if you're in Ohio at all, and you got family pictures coming up, if you want to do like portraits, that is who I recommend. That's who I use. When couples come to us and they're like, hey, will you shoot our families? I'm like, no, I'll shoot your wedding. But Little Roo would do your families. Anyhow, okay, you guys, here we go. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to hop over to the intro video, and then we're going to take a look at some live editing with you guys. So intro video time. Yay. Okay, we are at it, you guys. We're going to hop over to Lightroom right now, and we're going to take a look at an image that I shot here earlier in the summer, and take a look at what we would do with this. So let's jump right in. Okay, so this is a wedding that we did here in the summer, and it was a huge wedding. It was an amazing wedding, and one of the most important elements to this wedding was all of the decor. There was so much investment, as you can just simply tell here. There was so much investment done into the floral design, into the outdoor ceremony space, the reception space, and it was one of the reasons why they hired us, because they knew that we would do it right. And so one of the things that you're seeing here, and it's very, very, very subtle, but we were super intentional about this picture. I'm going to kind of talk about the image first, and then we're going to get into editing this into the most amazing thing you've ever seen. So for starters, actually, I chose this image to edit today because it wasn't like some beautiful bride. I thought there was something that we could actually learn from taking a look at just a scene. Sometimes I think we get a little, I'm not sure if the word is, I guess biased towards an image that is just like, it's a gorgeous bride. There's so much emotion. I just wanted to take a look at the editing aspect. So one of the things that we did here is we needed to retain as much information as possible in the sky. By the way, again, this is straight out of camera here. You can see I shot this at ISO 100 with a 24 millimeter. I'll explain the lens here in a minute. F9 at 1/200th of a second. And so we needed to retain the information in the sky. And so one of the questions you might be asking as you're looking at my settings here is, why 1/200th of a second? Why not go up higher? Well, that's because, you guys, if you look back here inside of this tent, this is a really important tent right here. It was full of all original 19th century, actually 18th century antique French furniture, and it needed to be lit. There was a huge display, a floral display in the middle. And if I were to try to expose for this centerpiece right here, everything would be completely blown out. And so hiding back here is actually my second shooter. Actually, in this one, it was like a second and a third shooter. So we had a second shooter hiding back here with a light, and this light is hitting this right here. And you can see as I zoom in that there is actually light shaping this scene right across here. Okay, cool. So the reason we're 1/200th of a second is because there's a thing called max sync speed, and I didn't want to go. I was shooting at 1:1. I did not want to go into a oh gosh, what's it called? Hyper speed, high sync speed. There it is, high sync speed. I did not want to go into high sync speed. I could have used an ND, but at f9 I was happy because I wanted everything to be in focus. Long story short, 1/200th of a second was where I needed to be for that, and so that's what I did to retain the information here and also in the sky. You'll see in a moment. The next thing is, you guys, this was shot at 24 millimeters and it was shot with a tilt shift lens. All right. So one of the reasons why I used a tilt shift for this shot was I wanted it to be really wide, but I also wanted to keep my lines straight. There's a lot of architecture in this shot. There's a lot of straight lines. And so using the tilt, using the shift, not the tilt, I only shifted on this. I was able to shift my frame up and keep my lines all vertical. So let's jump in. You guys, as you know, we have this Downstory Creative paint kit here. And so the whole mentality behind paint kit, I'm an oil painter. I'm an artist. You may have seen one of my paintings and I may think in episode 33 or something. And so I like to think of things in terms of building up layers. I like to think of things as starting broad and then working in towards the detail. And so we developed a preset kit that kind of stacks. And so anyhow, I'm going to jump right in. So I'm going to go base coat. I'm going to go top coat. And this is just going to begin to set some groundwork for us here. Now, right off the bat, we're going to be, actually, no, you know what? We're going to do base coat special. So base coat special does something kind of cool. So right off the bat, we're a mess, and it's going to take some work here. This isn't going to be one of those like one-click edits. We're going to start by bringing overall our shadows kind of up here, and with the base coat special, there's this little spotlight that I get to like move around. I can put on stuff, right? And so it starts at this size. It starts pretty big, and so I'm actually solely going to be using this all the way super small, and I'm going to just drag it bloop right down inside of the 10. I want to just bring that highlight right there. Okay. Now it's a little strong, and so we're going to go ahead and just dial it back a hair. All right. And while it's going, I'm going to just give it a little bit more contrast. So it's right there. Now, as we've done this so far, we haven't touched anything with white balance. The white balance is pretty whack right now. And so there's a couple options. I could just start going in manually. I could do an auto white balance with a click, or I could try to find something that's white, aka this tint, and just white balance off of that. I'm going to just see what we get. I'm going to do an auto white balance here and just see what Lightroom does for us. And so, yeah, it did some stuff already. Here's before, by the way. We're not done. I'm sorry, that's not before. That's the I did a virtual copy here, so that wasn't before. Anyhow, so let me actually, on that note, I want you guys to be able to easily see the before and after. So I'm going to go to this shot here, and I'm going to reset this one because it's not a virtual copy. And that's what I want. You guys already got the sneak peek. Okay, cool. So we're going to get back to that. I want to be able to just quickly show you guys before and after. So, okay, let me get this back in so you can see my full panel here, you guys. Give me 1 second. It's looking like, you guys able to see full panel now? All right. Okay, cool. We're back at it. Okay, so we're going to jump back in real quick. So we did base coat, top coat. We'll do a base coat special, dial exposure down, hop into, again, the spotlight that we have. We're going to bring this spotlight real small, and we're going to drop it right there inside of that tent. It's just doing a spotlight again right there in the tent, giving us a little bit of love. Okay, cool. The image is too warm, so we're going to start to cool it down a little bit. Okay, so now we're like starting to get somewhere. It's a little too cool. Let's give a little bit more magenta. So we have some areas that need addressed. We need to get the sky information back. We also need to get, this is too dark up here. Let's start with the sky, and then we'll kind of work our way back in. Okay, cool. So a really fun thing with skies to be able to do is you can actually go down to the HSL panel, and we can just go to the luminance channel, and we can start to just pull down the blues. Already that's going to bring our blue sky back in. which is just pretty freaking awesome. Alternatively, you could start to go in and do some brush work here. That can start to lead to, obviously, good stuff, but as well, it can lead to, like, for example, if I start pulling down highlights here, it can start to bleed into areas and do kind of funky stuff. This time it didn't, and so that's great. What I'm going to do next is, after I have a brush right here, what I really like doing is going back then and erasing out some of the stuff where the brush got that I didn't want. I think CS6 does not have this. I think it was only in Creative Cloud. I could be wrong on that. So we're just going to kind of feather out some of that brushing on the trees. Cool. That's looking hot. You know what? Actually, I want to do, I kind of like my skies to be a little bit more teal. So I'm going to go into the hue, and I'm just going to bring my sky a little bit more teal rather than the ultramarine blue. Okay. That's looking good. Now we need to address kind of this mess where it gets real dark in here. So I'm just going to do a brush. I really like our main exposure here in the middle. I think that's super nice. So we're going to do a new brush here, and we're going to crank the feather up just a little bit. And to start, we'll just start with the exposure up a little, shadows up, and a little bit more magenta. And we're going to start brushing in some more of this information. Now this area here, you can just see all the green. You can see the green cast in these white flowers, and so I'm going to be punching in a lot more magenta in here to pull that green cast out, and it's going to be a little bit of a push and pull game. So there we go. We're starting to get some more. At this point, I could do another brush, and now, actually, you know what I like instead of brushes? Sometimes it's fun to do like one of these circular gradients. And then a really cool thing, especially when I have symmetry like this, is, yeah, it looks great. I'm just going to duplicate it, right-click duplicate, and I can just drag it over and be right there. Now, another thing, we already have clarity at 15. Seeing as this is an image that's all about the details, it's all about the, like, fluff and the wow and the, like, we're going to crank up our clarity even a little bit more, because why not? Okay, one of the things that's bugging me is the symmetry. We have this kind of implied symmetry, or this attempt at perfect symmetry, with one pillar here, the other here, but it's off. You can see we have maybe an inch there, 2 inches here. So I am going to crop in on this to get that perfect symmetry back. Let's warm it up just a hair. I feel like it's a little too cool. Okay, cool. So this is before, this is after, right? Let me do a little bit of this. So, oopsies, just rejected it. Let's Control Z that. Okay, so before, after, all right? And again, this is no Photoshop in here, so before and after. The greens is a preference, by the way. We've kind of pulled our greens a little bit more blue, and so that's something that we tend to do, but it can get a little bit overdone, and so we could always pull these greens back a little bit. And as we do that, I actually have a little bit more leeway to bring the saturation up. Maybe not quite that far. So yeah, I dig that. So now we're getting something pretty sweet. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would really like to do to this file. But I'm satisfied. I think that's it. So there's an image for you guys. And again, the only way that we were able to get it to look like this is because of how we shot in post, is because we made sure that we were able to light this center part right here, to light inside that tent, so that way we still retain the sky. The awesome thing about cameras, you guys, is and this is important, there's settings on your cameras where you can see what's actually clipped. At the back of my camera at high noon light, I bet this area looked perfectly white, okay? And so there's something called zebra stripes where, well, actually, I think at the video it's zebra stripes, but on your camera you can set it, and so it'll actually black out. It'll show like you a solid black area. And so if you looked at the back of your camera, you'd see all this information, then you'd see a big solid black area if all of the information was gone, if it was white. And so that can be something that's really helpful to do in order to know, do you have the information in the sky or not? Anyhow, I might go ahead and just give this a hair more warmth, and we're pretty set. Maybe I'll edit another one for you guys from this shoot. Let me kind of scan here and see if I can find something fun. You know what? Actually, this image was really cool. So let me pull this up for you guys. I'm gonna create a virtual copy on this so I don't mess with it. Cool. And then we're gonna just reset this hog. All right. So check this shot out. This is a shot that we did inside, and when I pulled this up, when I was culling the images, I was underexposed. But man, I saw so much potential for this amazing shot. To me, it kind of reminded me of almost like an old oil painting. It reminded me of, what's that one, Michelangelo? Like the Jesus and David like touching. I'm probably totally off on names. Anyhow, that's what it reminded me of. And so let's take a look at this. One of my absolute favorite presets that we have at Style and Story is our black and white special. And so what we do is we'll start with a base coat, and then we're going to do a black and white special. In the last image, I did a color special. Once again, what it's doing is it's creating a little spotlight here that we're able to move around. It's kind of like the secret sauce. It adds this really interesting kind of dynamic to an image. And so we'll start with that. And now we're going to start by pulling up a little bit more of the shadows here throughout the background. Nice. Let's see. I think I kind of want to angle that in, and let's kind of crop in a little. Something like that. That's pretty sweet. Let's go ahead and pull our clarity up even more. There's a couple of things that are bugging me. So the way that your eye works is it tends to go to the brightest part of a scene. And so that's what this black and white special is doing, is it's drawing attention here to this area. But at the same time, it's touching some of this background information. And you can see it's touching his head. If I just hover over it, you'll see the red, right? So it's touching his head, it's touching this chair, and it's pulling up the highlights on that chair. By the way this works is black and white special reduces the overall contrast. You can see in the main panel, the highlights and the whites are going way, way down, okay? But when this gets on, it's bringing those highlights and whites back up. So it's globally reducing the contrast and then selectively reintroducing the contrast with highlights, whites, contrast, clarity right there where you want it. However, we're going to do some brush work and pull it off of his noggin. So let's go in. We're going to bring our feather down, and we're going to start to erase it off. You guys, this is something to not be lazy about. I see a lot of editing going on where people are doing radial filters, they're doing brush work, but then they are leaving these halos, right? They're leaving the halos in the background. Don't be lazy. Get in there and get rid of those halos, okay? It's a tell. I mean, it's just such an easy tell that you didn't want to take the time to really make this image nice. So the next place that's really messing with me here is this light back there. So there's a couple options. I could just grab this little spot removal tool and be like, bloop. But I don't like that. I still want the information there. So I'm just going to do a brush. I'm going to just drag it over it, and we're just going to pull those highlights down. And so now we're looking someplace pretty sweet. From here, maybe I'll bring the blacks up a little bit more to get some of that information. This is cool. All right, I think it's such an awesome shot. It's such a small detail, but it's so sophisticated, classy. It would look great in an album. And so just to show you guys again, we could do before and then after. There's before, after. Yeah, Carrie, the Sistine Chapel. Thanks, girl. I appreciate my art history was failing me, so good looking out, Carrie. Don, welcome, man. I'm glad you're here, my man. You guys, so there we go. That's kind of just a little bit of editing here for you guys. There's so much power that you have as an editor that you can go back and make stuff amazing. But again, it starts with how you're shooting. Actually, in particular, this shot right here. So there was a whole bunch of these spotlights that were on this room. There's only a single window lighting it. And I turned off all the other lights that were these spotlights overhead. And I just used the window light because I didn't want a bunch of mixed lighting. And you guys, check this out. I forgot this light back here. I think it's kind of helping because it's bringing some information on these books. But again, it's pulling that highlight. It's messing with mixed colors. And so that was a mistake that I made, that I thought I had the lights all off and was just working with one light source, and I wasn't. Anyhow, black and white saves the day. That's a sexy as hell shot right there. That's good stuff. Okay, you guys. So thank you so much. Hey, before you guys peace out, tomorrow we're going to be critiquing work, right? I want to critique community work and just help give back to you guys in any way. We've already had a ton of submissions, but I want more. I want to see more of your work. I want to edit or critique more of it. We're going to be really positive about it. I'm not just going to come in here and like dog your stuff, but we're also going to be really helpful. I think that it's not going to all be fluff. I want to give you guys real feedback. And so there's a link. Episode, is it 33? Episode 33, probably actually the handful below, are going to have links where you can submit that. You can submit 3 images, make them 900 pixels JPEG, just put your name in there. And we're going to get into critiquing tomorrow. Super stoked about that. In other news, you guys, one last thing. So Abundance, Maximizing Joy, Meaning, and Profits is a workshop. A 3-day workshop. It's like 3 days at my house, you guys. It's super intensive and intentionally so. There's only 12 photographers who are coming. And right now over half the passes are sold. And so we only have a few slots left. And so if that's something that you're thinking about, this is not a workshop, by the way, where you're just going to like leave and be able to edit better in Lightroom or take better pictures. This is a workshop that is specifically designed to hone your business into a well-oiled machine, to essentially make your photography company profitable, and to make sure that you're giving back to your clients in the proper way and giving them as much as you possibly can. I mean, it just is what it is, and it's honestly, it's awesome. It's really incredible. The last 12 photographers who came by saw 2-3 times growth, both in by the way, both in bookings and leads, but also in packages and pricing and in profits. So please check it out. If you're serious about your photography business and you want to see it grow, there's not a single photographer that's attended that is not made like 3x times what it costs to actually come. And so anyhow, come check it out. I'll drop a link for you guys, but it's going to be closing up on Thursday. Thursday is the day where we're going to be pulling away the $400 off. Right now, it's originally $23. It's $19 right now. Thursday it goes up to $23, and all the bonuses. I'm just giving away pretty much everything that I've made for you guys. All the educational content we're giving out as bonuses. And as well, mentoring sessions, one-on-one mentoring sessions. So check it all out, you guys. I'll put a link for you. But we'll see you tomorrow, editing Critique Wednesday. And let me cut back to this image one more time. That's going in our portfolio. That's what's up. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.